Wine held the fork tightly in her hand as she sat on the long dining table along with her fiance's family. Her fiance himself sat at the head of the table right beside her, yet he felt so far away. It was awkward until someone mentioned her name. Carl, what do you say is the best part about being engaged with Wine? Jungkook's cousin asked him, taking everybody's attention. Her fiancé, Jungkook, as expected, refused to answer like the boring man Wine found him to be. She exhaled. Wine, well, for me, it's probably the silence. Yeah, the one you just got now. She said sarcastically. Surprisingly enough, no one minded, in fact, laughed, since they knew him quite well. However, she could tell she was getting a death glare from Jungkook currently. Wine flinched when he placed a hand over her thigh and gave it a squeeze. She gave him a teasing smirk, which he never entertained. Yes, that was the kind of person he was. He didn't take a single flirty action by her, never once made a move himself. It was as if he was allergic to romance. She groaned and slumped her shoulders, and once the dinner ended, she decided to distance himself from her because his boring face was somehow drained her mood. Don't take her home. She found him quite handsome, charming, and attractive, and that was the whole problem. Why did he have to be such an anti-romantic? Why, God, was it too much to add some romance to beside his handsomeness? She might have muttered quite loudly because Jungkook's cousin Cor caught it and laughed instantly, making Wine shut her mouth. Wine, you did not hear that. Cor, sorry lady, I clearly cannot pretend that. Wine, you cannot tell him. I called him handsome, she said threateningly, and Cor raised his hands in a surrender. That was the thing about the men in this family. Wherever Wine went, it was beauty over another beauty. High manners, charming smiles. Wine was always treated with such high standards by these men. Just like now, as Carl pushed back a chair she was going to sit on and made it look like it was the most natural thing for him. Unlike her fiancé, yeah, Carl was attractive, funny, made her laugh, and they had a good time together. By the time dinner ended, she was exhausted. She excused herself early, leaving the luxurious backyard behind and making her way inside the mansion. She entered their shared bedroom and kicked off her heels when the door clicked shut behind her. Zeke, you left early. Wine, you're done late. She shrugged and excused herself to the washroom, changing up in her night wear. Wine, or maybe we could have danced a beautiful night away. She grinned, pushing the boundary. And guess what? There was that again. That expressionless face. She huffed. He simply walked past her, undoing the top few buttons of his shirt. The sight of his bare skin sent a shiver down his spine, but she pushed the thought away, climbing into the bed and pulling the covers over herself. She hadn't expected him to join her so soon, but minutes later the mattress stepped, and she felt the warmth of his body beside her. He never stepped close, always on his side, distant, as if trying an invisible boundary between them. But tonight was different. He shifted, hesitated for a brief second before laying on his back, then, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, he turned to face her, resting his head against her chest, Wine's breath caught. He was warm, solid, his weight was comforting, he smelled like his cologne, wine, and something very Jungkookish. She froze, unsure of what to do, but his calm arm curled against her waist, supporting her in place. Wine, Jungkook? She whispered, unsure if he was even awake. He hummed, eyes shut. That was the thing about men. Born with those long eyelashes, and in that moment, he looked absolutely devastating up this close to her. Wine, are you okay? A long silence stretched between them before he finally spoke, voice low, laced with exhaustion. JK, just stay like this. Her heart pounding against her lips. She slowly lifted her hand, nearing his hair to brush them, yet his next words stopped her. JK, he looked happy with Core. Wine, whatever you mean by that, I'll ignore it once. JK, what was it about him that made you laugh? You don't do that with me. He raised his head, meeting eyes with hers. Why? Because you aren't really funny? I don't understand why is Core coming in between us. JK, he's funny. That's what you like. His grip on her waist tightened, and it took mine quite a moment to react before she did. He pushed him away. Warren, are you here for the first time near me? Just because of Carl? JK, correction, because I was jealous. Wine. So you will only end the distance between us when you're jealous? Jungkook got quiet. The silence between them stretched like a razor-thin thread, taut and on the verge of snapping. One could feel the heat of his body. The way his fingers still pressed into her waist, the weight of his gaze pinning her down, even though he hadn't moved. He kissed her, deep, passionate, fingers caressing her skin. Mine didn't take a moment before replying to that kiss. It was the moment she realized how much she wanted a normal wedding. A man who loved her, showered her with such touches. It was the kiss which was caught. Enough for a reply. For every her insecurity, doubt, troubles about her future, Jungkook said, "Fine, say what?" His fingers trailed up from her waist, skimming along her ribs up to her collarbone, slowly, deliberately, a whisper of a touch that left fire in his wake. Mine sucked in a breath. Jungkook, did you like it? Her heart pounded so hard it echoed in his ears. Like what? The way he was holding her, the way his breath coasted over her lips like a promise, the way his voice had dropped into something dangerously low. Wine, I don't. His grip suddenly tightened, pulling her flush against him, chest to chest, breath to breath. Take it, liar. The words sent a shiver down her spine. Wine barely had time to react before his fingers traced the line of her throat, trailing down to where her pulse raced wildly beneath his touch. She should have pushed him away. Should have reminded him that he was the one who always kept his distance. But right now, she wanted to see how far he would go. Wine, and if I do. Jungkook's dark eyes flickered, his expression unreadable, then he moved lower. His lips brushed against the sensitive skin just below her ear, the lightest touch, almost like he was testing himself. Wine clenched the sheets beneath her. This wasn't the Jungkook she knew. This wasn't the cold, distant man who never reacted to her teasing. JK, then I'm claiming you right now. I'll be the husband you want and deserve, so stay mine. I'll be the one to love you, listen to you, bring you everything and anything you want. Wine held him back as he kissed her again before he pulled her in his embrace. The soft beating of his heart brought her such peace that she never felt before. This moment was beautiful, something she was going to cherish forever.